Those with spoiled siblings, when did your parents realize they terribly messed up? I have a brother who is about 6 years younger than me. He was excessively coddled by my parents due to being diagnosed with high-functioning autism at the age of 4. Other than that, he seems very normal, just unbelievably spoiled. He would use his privileged position to get his way most of the time, and by most, I mean nearly all the time. Whatever I had, he also had to have, resulting in us having duplicates of almost everything except shared items. And anything he had that I didn't, he'd rub in my face however he could. When I was 11, I pleaded with my parents for a 3DS for my 12th birthday. I got one, but then I was told to lend it to my brother whenever he wanted it, or else they would take it away from me. Which it was, a lot. When my aunt witnessed my parents forcibly taking my 3DS out of my hands to give it to my brother during one of her visits, she let loose on them for such blatant favoritism. They returned my 3DS immediately, then blamed me for the situation after my aunt left. They didn't make me give it to my brother again. Instead, a few days later, my parents went out and bought another 3DS as a surprise gift for my brother. On several occasions, including mine and other people's birthdays, my brother would throw a tantrum because the party wasn't entirely about him. He would go as far as outright stating that he was upset because he wasn't receiving any gifts or getting to blow out the candles on the cake. My parents learned the hard way that they couldn't enable my brother's behavior at those parties and were actually kicked out of a few for attempting to do so. As a result, other kids at his school stopped inviting him to their birthday parties altogether. For me, my birthdays were some of the only days where I could have the focus on myself. Otherwise, my parents forced my life to revolve around my little brother. The year prior to the incident I'm describing, my parents ended up paying more attention to him throughout my entire 13th birthday. They even asked me if I would let my brother blow out my candles for me because he was upset and pouting. I refused because I wanted to blow out my own candles. At first, they called me a spoiled brat until my aunt intervened and chastised them for their favoritism once again. She pointed out how my brother got nearly everything between the two of us just because he's autistic. My parents received no support from anyone else present, except my brother who was still crying because he wasn't getting to blow out my candles. Because he didn't get his way, he tried to spit on my cake out of spite. Fortunately, my awesome aunt blocked him before he had the chance and scolded him until he ran to my mom in tears. My parents faced a lot of criticism from the other adults there, and they promised never to ask me to let my brother blow out my candles again. However, for the rest of the party, they mostly just went through the motions. My aunt pretty much took over coordinating everything from that point on. A couple of weeks before my birthday the following year, my parents sat me down and informed me that they would still get me some gifts and a small cake. However, my birthday party was effectively cancelled to avoid my brother having another meltdown. I told them I couldn't believe they were doing this to me, and they just seemed to shrug it off without a care. So, over the next week, I told my friends, teachers, and even my school counselor about the situation. All of them were appalled by my parents' lack of consideration or empathy. The vice principal even found out and consoled me. Through social media, news of the situation reached my parents. As a result, they grounded and gaslighted me for telling so many people. But that still didn't stop me. I then started telling everyone at school that I was grounded for being upset. This worsened the situation because several parents contacted them, basically saying, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Suddenly, I was ungrounded, but I didn't receive an apology. My dad simply walked into my room with his arms crossed, informed me that I was ungrounded, and then walked